you? How was your Memorial Day weekend? Ours was great. We hope that yours was great too. One of these days, I'm going to get myself situated before I come on here. These chairs are very comfortable, but in that they're so comfortable, they kind of sit me back too low.
They're very cozy.
So I don't like to be sitting back that low when I'm talking to you. So it always takes me a minute to get situated. This was exciting. I was super happy that we did this. So my sister and I grew up in Fort Wayne. My mom raised us in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We now live in Southwest Michigan. Story for another day. But my mom was an amazing grandma. She loved to have the kids. So she would take the kids as often as she could get them, my children. And she had like this circuit of things that she would do with the kids. And so we went back to Fort Wayne. It's about 2 hours away. And we spent the weekend there with my kids and my grandkids and my sister. And we did kind of that circuit that my mom would do with my kids. It was so fun. It was so, so fun. We lost my mom several years ago. And so it was nice to kind of bring all of that back to the surface, and remember all those things. You had fun, didn't you?
Yeah. Took 10 kids too. So there was just a little bit of
tension,
but it was great. My kids had never seen, that's what I remember as a kid is going back there. So my kids have never seen any of that. So it was really nice to all the stories that we have, bring it, a face to it all for them.
It was kind of like our memorial to my kid's grandma, my sister and I's mom. That was kind of how we chose to bring her memory back alive a little bit. But we hope that you had a great Memorial Day weekend, not just Memorial Day, the whole weekend.
Yes. Well, I saw that Brittany jumped on, so I am going to invite our guest for today.
Usually takes just a second for it to catch up, so we're left sitting here just staring at the camera.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Girl, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
I love your hair.
Thank you.
It's a little different than the last time I saw you.
Yeah, I just got extensions in. So
I love it.
Thank you.
Nice. I love extensions. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
Except when they look wonky. Sometimes we'll look at ours and we're like, whoa.
They usually look good though.
Yeah.
So, IG Land, meet Brittany. This is Brittany of Change Melody. I didn't introduce myself either. And Robin, I'm Tracy, and this is Robin. We own Salted Words. I usually start with that. I started with something else. But it's so nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
We're glad that you will join us.
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for changing the time around for me. My afternoons are always so crazy with running kids around with school. So appreciate you doing it a little bit earlier than normal.
Yes. So I'm kind of the opposite. I like pushed it to where I get all my kids home and then I race back and then we do our live. So we can be pretty flexible, especially now that it's summer. My kids are already out of school.
Nice.
So
we're a few days away from summer break. So almost there.
Almost there.
We have my husband, we have 4 kids, and my kids are all grown now, obviously. But I loved summer break. It was my most favorite time of the year when my kids were all home with me, and
Yeah.
we.
Mine, 2 of mine are getting a little bit older, and it's starting to hit home how much I don't have too many summers left with them before they're gone, and so just starting to realize. My favorite saying as being a parent is like the days are long, but the years are fast. And my oldest is 16, so I really do only have like 2 summers left with her in the house. And so you really just want to take that time and do the most you can, make that summer bucket list, and enjoy every minute you are able to with them for sure.
It's a true story. It's there. I'm not going to get the saying right, but a good parent necessarily fails and that she loses her children when they move out, you know? And it's so like so sobering to me that your kids are going to move out of your home. And it's good. It's a good thing when they move out of your home. So I know exactly how you
Yeah,
feel.
just trying to soak in, yeah, all those moments you can with them. So I am excited for summer.
Well, um we're excited to have this talk with you, and we feel like that you have got lots of encouragement and inspiration that you can share with anyone watching. Um, you do permanent jewelry.
Right.
We have we have
I
several.
still have ours too.
I love them. I love them so much.
Actually, my daughter was trying to remember when you gave her her
Mm-hmm.
anklet. Um, I think it's been at least 2 years.
Yeah, no, it has since the first time I
Yeah,
came to your guys' shop. I think it's been 2 years.
I think so too. She loves it. She still has it on, and
Awesome.
she was so happy she switched from her bracelet to her
Hmm.
ankle.
You do good work.
Thank you.
Um, so permanent jewelry is a lasting connection. And I would like for you to talk to us how that came about for you. And I'd also like, I know the story, but I love it. And I think that everybody else would like to hear is the story about how you got your name.
Yeah.
You would share
So,
those two things
yeah.
with us. We would love that.
Absolutely. So, I am a mom of three. I was working a full-time job, had been in actually the beer industry for 7 years. I was doing that. And I just felt like between being a mom and working full-time, I didn't have anything for me. And I'm very much like both of you, very creative, like to be hands-on with things and have an outlet to express myself. And I had heard of permanent jewelry through a friend, and at the time it was only available in Chicago. Um, and prior to her telling me about this, I had been doing a lot of praying because I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to start a business, and not to go into this whole story, but this is my third business started. I've had two failed businesses, but I missed it. I missed that outlet, and so I prayed and I prayed. What can I do? Just feeling hopeless and not being able to find something that challenged me and gave me a really good outlet of what I was looking for. And then so that's when permanent jewelry came along, and I'm like, oh, this is it. This is it. And I just dove right in. And if you're not familiar with permanent jewelry, it is a huge investment to start if you do it the right way. But my husband supported me 100%. I immediately was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to get a location, and just dove in and got the location, started it up. And from there, I needed a business name though. And I didn't really know what to call it. I was sitting on the couch, and my grandmas have been really strong women for me in my life, and they've always pushed me to be true to myself, and I decided I wanted to dedicate it to them. So one of my grandmas that I was very close to, she had passed away, and she left me this music box that sits on my fire mantle, and it plays the song Unchained Melody, famously known for Elvis Presley singing right before he passed. And it just hit me, and I was like, oh my gosh, Unchained Melody. Unchained didn't really make sense with it being a forever bracelet, so I just shortened it to Chained Melody. And so that's where the name comes from. And I know you guys are familiar with the story because you custom made a sign for me that is in my shop, and will forever be, if it's not in my shop, it'll be in my house one day. It's something I'll always hold really dear to my heart, because it just means so much to me. And so that's how all of this came about. And then it's been a crazy journey since.
I love it. I love your story about your grandma. And I think it's so good to honor those who've gone before us, to honor those that have molded our lives, who poured into our lives and sacrificed for our lives. I love that story so much. It's like, you know, God gives us these people that are so good for us. And then, you know, very similar to our children, we are going to lose those people someday. So to keep parts of them with
Mhm.
us is so important. I love it. I love your story about your grandma.
Thank you.
Um, so you had you recently are just, you're like the phoenix. You've come back alive. You've rebuilt from the ashes.
Yeah.
Would you like, right? I know. Would you like, I'd love for you to share what I know it might be sad for you, but we always like for people to see what can come on the other side of something tragic.
Yeah. To me, and I know we had talked a little bit prior before the podcast, and you had touched a little bit on the fire. And when I was thinking about it, I just didn't realize how much people were looking at my story or situation and been like, wow, like, look what I guess I didn't realize how much of a, I don't want to say inspiration, that's not the word, but just how resilient I was in the time because I just felt like I was in survival mode, I guess you can say. But yeah, so with the fire, um, I had just moved locations, got all set up, had an accidental fire. um it was really hard on myself, and I will say one thing, it was really hard on the owner of the building as well. So I was a renter, so everything for me was more physical, all my physical property. But for her as a renter or owner of the building, she had to take a decent hit too. And so a lot of what I was feeling was guilt, and just feeling horrible that somebody else had to go through that as well. So she had to, replace the flooring, replace the wall. Um, and so she had to take quite a bit of a hit as well. Her business on her side was okay, but she still had to go through a lot of that too. And so it was really hard knowing that I was the cause, an accidental cause for what happened. The other hard part was, and I've said this a lot of times, but I don't think a lot of people know this, but I had used an insurance agent, as you do. And when I went to go file my insurance claim, I called my agent, hey, there was a fire, whatever, we filed the claim. The adjuster comes back and says, you don't have any property coverage. You have zero property coverage. And that is what was really hard because if I had property coverage, I also would have had loss of income. So all those appointments for months that I lost out on, insurance would have helped me cover. Insurance would have helped me cover the loss of, the jewelry or furniture. And instead, I was completely on my own. And the reason I said kind of in a survival mode is, like I had said earlier too, that I had worked for 7 years. I had left my job of 7 years in May, and the fire happened in September. And so what was kind of a hobby and something fun really is my, like, it's my business. It's how I put a roof over my children's head, and so I kind of turned into survival mode because now I'm out of job. This is my only source of income, and I just lost it all in a fire, and insurance isn't helping me. So what am I going to do? Luckily, in a way, it did fall over a good time. As you guys know, the fall is amazing for craft shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a ton of those lined up. So those really helped me keep afloat, along with the amount of people that supported me and hosted home parties. I will say I survived because of the support of my clients, and who are now really good friends of mine. I've made so many good friends that are clients, and that's how I survived. It is just purely off people's support and love and wanting to help, and just hosting those home parties and showing up to craft shows. That's what kept my business alive. I mean, I pushed and tried to stay relevant with funny reels and doing anything I could. But at the end of the day, it was the support of the community that helped keep my business afloat.
Well, it's interesting too that God places people in our lives that we need at the time. And God is such a superhero in every situation. It I'm sure what seemed for you like complete and total loss, I'm sure you were just in shock when it all happened. And I feel like God also stilled you and gave you just enough encouragement to see that you could. And yours is, something you were talking about. through. Yours is very hands-on. Like you need people in front of you for your business.
Yes,
Yours isn't, I'm sure there's some things you could do online, but yours is very person to person,
absolutely.
that you need those people in that chair in front of you.
Hmm. Yeah, it's something that you have to be right there. So again, with those markets, having, physically being there, it's not something I could just post online and people buy. Although I think I did maybe even run some gift card sales, if I'm remembering, and people did purchase some gift cards. So that was a way that I could get money right then and there, and then they could redeem the gift card later. So those helped out too quite a bit.
Yeah,
You had to
I am,
get really creative,
sorry.
that's for sure. I was trying to be as creative as possible to figure out a way to keep it going.
Well, that's one thing that, I always think is amazing that when you're, forced to have to be in a situation like, yeah, survival mode, like, you have to get creative and see what works. And that's really
Yeah.
amazing that, the community came together, but also like, I do feel like God had probably protected your mind from the loss of it all to be
Yeah.
able to, surge
Just stay.
forward.
Yes, and I was just so focused and concentrated on just, yeah, keeping afloat, keep going, not dwelling on it, and just staying focused on the next thing. The hardest part, which I've not talked about really at all, um, was moving back into my space, actually. So once the owner was done, she had got the walls fixed, the floors fixed, everything was moving, ready for me just to kind of move everything back, moved everything back in. It was really hard. That day of move-in was a really dark day for me that I wasn't anticipating. And it, in a way, it just felt like not a fresh start. Like it hit home for me, where I felt everything was ripped away from me, and I had worked so hard, and I was just starting from the ground back up again. um I had all my jewelry, I had to clean myself. So in the kitchen, I just have rolls of chain. I'm cleaning little tiny charms, and every single thing in that shop had to be wiped down from all the soot. And it was hard, but when there was a goal, I stayed focused on just what needed to be done, a task. But then when I saw it all back, it just kind of the store looked the same, like nothing ever happened. And that was hard because a lot happened. And um I don't know. It was a weird thing for me to feel and go through. And it's even weird saying it out loud. Why would you be upset, or why would you be hurt that everything was back in place? But it felt, yeah, hard. I don't know. I don't, maybe I felt like if insurance would have helped me and I could have got new furniture, new something, it would have felt more of a fresh start. But it felt like I was beat up just to have to go right back to where I was, and a step back. It was hard, but I mean, more has come since then, and now I am in a really good place, and really, so everything really does happen for a reason. Sometimes it's just hard to see in those dark times.
Right.
That is interesting. That everything looked the same. There's definitely something spiritual going
Mhm.
on there. I don't know. I think it's good that you can see it though and recognize it, and especially for the future, where you have that memory, and then you could go. It seems to me that that'll be useful to you to go back and see how far you've come. I'm
Yeah,
glad that you've seen new doors open though, and everything feels.
yeah. My year lease was up at that spot, and I was really just needing a bigger spot, which is an awesome problem to have. I need a bigger location again. So my third time moving. This will be my forever home, though. No more moving. Um, and with this new location, I mean, it's almost three times as big. It's more of a storefront feel, which I've always really wanted, right on Main Street, downtown Elkhart. And I just couldn't be happier with it. It really feels like it's finally my home, like my space, what I've created, and I am thrilled with it.
What are your hours? Just for anybody local listening, and maybe myself, I might have to make a trek over.
So they're a little wonky right now because I'm just trying to figure it out. I was always by appointment, except for on the weekends, but now being on a storefront, I'm trying to figure out what days are good days to be open. But I also, as being a mom of three, I don't want to sit somewhere all day if if I'm not gonna have it's not gonna be busy. I got laundry, you know.
Yes.
So right now what I'm doing, and it might change over summer hours, but right now is Monday from 10 to 2. Then Tuesdays and Wednesdays I'm closed, and then I'm open Thursdays through Saturday. And you can either do walk-in or you can do an appointment those days. I always say preferred appointment. Appointments are always going to get service first, and then it kind of helps me gauge who's coming in. But you can just walk in.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. But 10 to 2 are your typical
For
when you are open?
Monday, but then like Thursday, Friday, Saturday are like 10. They kind of range. It's kind of 10 to 5 on Thursdays, 10 to 6 on Fridays, and then 10 to 4 on Saturdays.
We're kind of, we're only technically open to the public. Well, we're open on Friday, but that's just with sourdough. And then we're only open once a month. So I get it. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah,
It's
it's just figuring it out. And so it's all listed on Google though. So if you ever like you can either go to Google or you can go to my website and you'll see my availability there too. So
okay. I'll keep that in mind. Um, it's yeah, something interesting that I have noticed. We didn't go over these questions, but something that I noticed that happened with COVID is when we came out of that, it's like a new day. We're doing things different. We're going to accommodate. We're going to make things work. We don't have to be tied to something that always was. We can create something new. So I really like that. And I feel like people at large are really on board with that too.
yeah,
You know?
I totally agree with that. It just seems like the adjustment. I mean, heck, even Walmart was like, we're not going to be open 24/7
Right.
anymore. So, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of things changed. You just kind of realize and as a business owner, profit margins and losses. And I'm not, as a business owner, I'm not going to pay an employee to sit there on a Tuesday for,
Right.
maybe one person to walk in for that whole month on a Tuesday. It just that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So just really making the hours based off of business decisions and personal, because family is number one and
Yes.
time with kids is number one. And like we talked about earlier, summer is here, and making those times where I can have that day at the beach with my kids and carving out that family time is super important. And when I primarily work weekends, those Fridays, Saturdays are my busy days. I'm going to carve out those slow days on the weekdays to be
Right.
with the kiddos.
And it builds a better world. And, that's something that I think the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, I'm not sure how, I'm guessing you're similar to my kids' ages, but everybody's working, we need two cars, we need the vacations, we need all the things. And I think it's coming around to where we're realizing that the really important things, which are family, are actually the pillars of our worlds.
Oh, yeah,
They're the pillars of our lives. It's the most important things, and it builds a better community, I think.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Um, so you've already touched on quite a bit of this, but we're two women in business, and we try to have not only women guests, but predominantly. And we love to be encouraging, obviously. But what would you say if you knew there was a woman on the other side? She just suffered a loss, and you have something to say to her to brighten her eyes and fill her heart with hope. What is it that you would say?
I honestly would say prayer. I think a lot in my life started changing for the better when I started having open conversations with the Lord, and really kind of taking that built up stress or anxiety and just giving it to Him. And it's crazy once you do that, how everything just paves away. So instead, how I used to prior, I would just sit and stress about it and like, how am I going to make ends meet, or how is this going to come together? What am I going to do next? Because I'm a big what am I going to do next type person. Instead of sitting there dwelling and stressing myself out about it and giving myself anxiety, really taking that quiet time and prioritizing it with prayer and giving him my thoughts and stress and just asking him to help guide me. And then from there, really just letting it go. And then it's crazy what he will do from there. I mean, truly, once you give it over to the Lord, I really think he kind of guides you. And that would be my biggest thing is pray on it. Just pray on it.
Well, and yeah, small business is not easy. I mean, someone told us a long time ago that small business was not for the faint heart. And I have never heard a truer statement, but also with that, I mean, it's also so rewarding. It's, something that you built that, and then, if you put everything in God's hands, like, and let him lead you, I mean, the sky's the limit. Like, he has things that he wants for you. And if you just give him that little bit, and trusting his plan, business can be a beautiful situation.
Yeah.
And I think that you represent that very well with your business.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely feel like it's hard, and I definitely get really hard on myself. I'm someone that really pushes myself, and I almost sometimes can get hard on myself. Never good enough. Right? What am I going to do next? I've said that many times. I'm just constantly moving and moving and moving, and it can be a lot of pressure that I'm putting on myself. But the business outside of feeling that way has been super rewarding, and something I don't post on my social media a lot or really at all because it's not something I'm doing it for is, I prayed on this business. God gave me this business. I thought, oh, permanent jewelry, how fun. I love jewelry. But it's really opened up something so much bigger. I've had so many good, I mean, well, just clients that have turned into friends, but then also connections that I've been able to do with other people. One story I'll never forget is I had a man come in who had lost his son, and he had his son's ashes in a little container and wanted that to be as like a permanent necklace. I had a couple come in who had just lost they had a baby. It was maybe a couple weeks old, and it had suddenly passed, and they were getting permanent necklaces with the baby's initial on it. There's just so many stories like I have done like that I would have never have thought I would be privileged to get to connect people with. Just a couple weeks ago, I had a woman reach out, and she was like, my daughter and I came in for Mother's Day, and my mom loved our matching bracelets, but unfortunately, she's in the hospital and she can't come in. And when she does get released, she's going to hospice. What is your fees to come out to the hospital and do a bracelet? And I was like, don't even worry about it. Like, and so I gave, that mom a bracelet for free, came up to the hospital and did a bracelet so she could match, her daughter and her granddaughter. And, the daughter was just, this means so much to me. And when my mom passes, she's going to be cremated. I'm going to have the bracelet cremated with her. So we're kind of always with her. And that's why I'm doing it. I've said it multiple times. Um, this business could end tomorrow, but what God has given me and the connections I've been able to do for people are something I am going to cherish and take with me the rest of my life. So when I'm getting hard on myself and the business is hard, those little things just kind of just you forget about all the stress and all the other things because that's what it's about right there.
That is beautiful. I love that. I love that. I don't know if I've ever even thought about that. If it all ended today, I would still have all the memories of it. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have anything? Well, I mean, we could talk a long time just about, experiences and networking. That's one thing that we actually feel strongly about as well with our business. And we're only open once a month, but the networking and the connections that you make through small business, it's really amazing how, you know, I feel like maybe a lot of the media tries to put a negative aspect on business and, all this stuff. But when you try to, when you choose a positive outcome or a positivity just in anything you do, you are connected with so many amazing people. And I'm trying to remember, where did we first meet you at? Was that at, I think it was at a craft show
It was in Niles.
in Niles.
Yeah.
And
It was an artisan market.
okay. But even, just bringing together other, Christian minded businesses. I mean, there's a list of businesses in my mind that locally around here, if we ever did anything like, these are the businesses that I want to be included, or like I want to be included and include vice versa. So the networking part of business is our favorite.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. I've built so many relationships through the artisan markets, and I mean, you can see it right here. We've met each other, and you guys have supported me since day one, since and you guys have created things for me and my business, and it's really nice building those relationships with other women that are passionate about the same things as you. And you need that. I can talk to my husband all day till I'm blue in the face, but I'm not going to get the same conversation as I am with women like you. So
Yeah.
it's good.
And there are, I think about another thing about our world. There are lots of small businesses that are women run. And along with that, though, this is something that I hear across the board, almost completely the same with every woman in business. We have a business and that is secondary to our family, and we still have to show up 100% for our business. We have to show up 100% in the products we're making and the services we're providing, and all of, every, we have to schedule and do the bookkeeping and do the accounting and do the financial portion and do the marketing and the outreach and all the things.
Yeah,
And we still have to be 100% mom and 100% wife and 100% maid and laundress
yeah,
and errand runner extraordinaire.
yeah.
I don't have kids at home anymore, but Robin does, and it is, women are
It's
superheroes.
a lot. I feel like, and too, with I have recently changed my business to my employees getting W-2s now. I have 6 employees, so scheduling my employees, it's a lot. It is a lot to manage. And then with events, so I'm scheduling the shop, I'm scheduling home parties, I'm scheduling events, and there's so many moving pieces all the time that it's a lot. It's definitely every little bit of a full-time job. I don't know how I was doing a full-time job and this for as long as I was. And that's when I really also feel like I needed to leave that full-time job because mom was coming last. It was full-time job, business, family life. And so I feel so balanced now that I mean it could always be better. Sometimes I do lean more towards business over mom. Which is something I'm working on. I think in the summer will be a lot better. But
Yeah.
I mean, but I did just get away this weekend. We took the kids. I know you guys were talking about Memorial Day, and I jumped on. The kids had a wrestling tournament this weekend, so I was gone from Thursday to Monday. We went to Virginia Beach, and so that was
Nice.
really nice. And it was just the older kids. The younger ones stayed home with dad, and so it was good time with them and getting to just spend some quality time with the older kids.
You have 4 kids also?
No, 3.
You have
So
three?
yeah, 16. One that's gonna turn 14 in a couple days, and then I have an 8-year-old. So
Oh,
the two olders, and then the one little younger one.
nice. We've met your daughter. I
Yeah,
think we've met her a few times.
yeah. She normally comes to the artisan markets with
Yeah.
me. She likes to work aside with me. So, and I always like having her. She's my best friend, so I always like having her with me.
Yeah. Hey, we have 3 daughters and they are amazing. They're my people.
Yeah.
Probably because I created them. I made them just how I wanted them to be. they're they're good. I did make them just how I wanted them to be. God didn't allow. One of my daughters was calling her sister. I don't know how to stop that If any of you saw that, I'm not sure.
I don't think
That
it
was
shows
recorded.
through
Mhm.
on here.
Yeah, we don't know how to stop that from happening.
It went
But
mute, but I didn't see anything.
Okay. I don't think it shows up on the other side. But with closing, what would be for what would be a piece of advice you would give someone starting a business to inspire them to, even though it might be hard, to push through? I guess maybe like any kind of advice that you would give a small business owner starting out.
Yeah. I mean, the beginning part is the hardest part, believing in yourself and getting going. That fear of failure. So, I mean, once you get started, and I mean, you're really putting yourself out there when you first start. So it is super intimidating. And like I said, I've had businesses fail. And I would say the biggest thing is just staying consistent, being true to yourself and your brand, and what you're doing, and really lean in on those artisan markets and support of other business owners. I would say that's a huge reason that I was able to get started and be successful, was all the other businesses that helped support me in the very beginning, all the amount of businesses that hosted me, giveaways, whenever you partner with other small businesses for giveaways, that really helps get your small business name out there as well. So, and that just shows that the small businesses are a community. We are. It is community over competition. Maybe not everyone's like that, but I would say a good majority of us are like that and want to
Yeah.
support other business women. So just being true to yourself, be consistent, and be in that small business community and uplift each other. And that's a good formula for success.
Love that. It's very easy to be hard on ourselves in this day and age, and it's tough to start a business, but if you can, think about those topics and constantly run those through your head, I do feel like that's a good ground to be successful in.
Yeah.
I have loved our conversation. It was great. I loved every second of it. I feel like I take something away from every podcast, and I really like it. Even if it all ended today, I would still keep the memories. I love that. And there is that being my takeaway. There is so much. Being a small business owner, you do have the freedom to be generous with the things that God's been generous with us. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a really beautiful part of owning a business. I don't, a lot of big corporations, not that they're not philanthropic, they are, a lot of them, but just that it's amazing to give gifts.
Yeah. I
It
that's how
feels
I
so
feel.
good.
I feel like God gave me the opportunity to be here and bring this connection. So when I'm able to do it in return, I'm always trying to do those things in
Yes.
return. And I'm doing them in the background because I'm not doing it for the Instagram post. So
Yeah.
I get to do that type of stuff all the time, and it's something I'm super thankful for. Because yeah, like we've said, the business could end tomorrow, but yeah, the memories and the relationships I've built are something that are gonna last me, a lifetime.
Yes. Well, it was absolutely lovely talking with you, Brittany, and
Thank
I
you.
hope to see you sometime this summer.
Yeah,
So we'll
I,
have to make
I'm gonna
sure
be
that we.
out at a lot more markets. So are you guys doing the Madison Road Market? I can't remember if you guys do that one or not. No,
Mm-mm.
I'm
mostly
going to make
stick
a
to
note though.
Michigan. I think Madison Road. Have you been to that market
We have
before?
not, but we've had it recommended to us several times.
It's my best market. They do it twice a year. They have one, it's June 7th, and I think I just saw that they need 2 more spots filled. So definitely would try to reach out and apply. I love that market. It's a really good
Yeah,
one.
I will. I'll see if I can get a hold of them
Yeah.
today. But
So maybe I'll see you there, but I definitely will
yes,
be at a lot more markets soon. So hopefully we'll run into each other.
yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
It was nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Have
Nice to
a
see you guys.
wonderful day.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Bye.
bye.